we have apparently chosen Chaos for the third roll, which is... Hello my loves, and thank you for joining me. It's Kirsten, and today we're doing my July TBR game. We have a 6 coloured sided dice which I roll a minimum of 5 times. If the same colour comes up twice, then I do a re-roll. So I have anywhere between 5 and 7 books to read for the month, and the colour relates to a little figure that sits on top of a stack of prompts, and those are what I have to fulfil to choose the books for the month that I'm reading. I do always have at least one of the prompts which I will give you 2 different books to choose between, and you have to vote in the comments to let me know what book I should prioritise and read for that month out of the 2. That's all the intro bits, nice and easy. I do have a couple of books that I need to read this month, one of which is Threadneedle, and this I'm going to be reading on Kindle, so this TBR game is only really for physical books, but I will be reading Threadneedle for the Instagram book club that I'm a part of, and July is the last month to get that read in, so I definitely will be reading that. I also want to take part in Jane Austen July, but I'm only doing it very lightly. This is a readathon hosted by Katie. I will have her channel linked below. She's a really good YouTuber, and she hosts every July Jane Austen July. That is where you read one of Jane Austen's main novels, one of her shorter works, some non-fiction about her. There's a lot of prompts. I've already read all of Jane Austen's works. I don't really feel like a reread at the minute, but there is one prompt which I'm thinking this book, L'Adore, could fulfill, and that is to read an author that is a contemporary of Jane Austen, so someone that was writing at the same time as Jane Austen, and Mary Shelley was one of those. And I have L'Adore by Mary Shelley that I've been wanting to read ever since I found it. It's a book which I've never heard anyone talking about. To make it even better for Jane Austen July, this is Mary Shelley's most Jane Austen-like book. So if I can fit this into the prompt, I would be really happy. But other than that, I have nothing I need to read for the month. So let's choose the first prompt. These have all been shuffled up, and I think, do I just, you know what, for the first time I'm going to do one right at the front. So that prompt is, oh, a bigger prompt, over 500 pages. It's doable, yes. Do I want to start with that? Let's hope not. Let's get to roll number 1. The first roll for July, Orange. A non-fiction book. This is my non-fiction shelf with my little plant at the end. Ignore the fact that I haven't painted the top of this. Anyway, this was the book I was considering for Jane Austen July, because it's Jane Austen The Secret Radical, but I've heard some mixed things about it, so I don't know if I actually want to read this one anymore. I'm not sure. I feel like I should try it for myself, but I don't know, part of me honestly just wants to read this one. I think that's going to be the pick. So for rule number 1, we have non-fiction, and as you saw, I've decided to go with Being Lolita by Alison Wood. This is going to be a very hard-hitting non-fiction book. We're following a professor, this is her memoir, about being groomed by her English teacher and being given Lolita at a younger age, and that was kind of the tool for all the grooming that went on. Being a professor now, she is teaching Lolita to students, and that's bringing back a lot of what's happened. I want to say excited is the wrong word, but I'm wanting to give this one a try. I know it's going to be a harder read. It's one that I've been wanting to read for quite a while. It's on my summer TBR, so it's one that you've heard me speaking of quite regularly lately. But yeah, it's going to be a harder read, but I also think it's going to be a really important read. That's the first book for July. Okay, choosing another prompt. Take one from the front. Oh, a pretty book, which my writing is terrible there. But that says a pretty book, so a book that I think is pretty. Very subjective, I mean, isn't everything, but yes, a pretty book. Anyway, roll number 2. Roll number 2, Purple, the highest rated on my TBR. The second pick is highest rated on my TBR, and the way I do this is I have a Goodreads shelf with all my physical books, okay, the majority of all my physical books on my TBR, and I will just rank that to highest rated. So let's screen record. Instantly, Goodreads is having a problem. Let's go, so my book, physical TBR, yes I do have more than 112, but average rating, so it looks like it's already in the highest rated. Let me just check. Lowest, highest, yes. Okay, so Promised Neverland Volume 4. Could I actually read this one? I am due to be reading, at the time of filming this, Promised Neverland Volume 3 this month already. So then by the time that this would start, it would be fine for Volume 4. Or we have Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. What one do I want to do? I feel, because I haven't actually read Volume 3 at this moment in time, I'm gonna go with Tress of the Emerald Sea. Let me go get that. Okay, so Tress of the Emerald Sea by Brandon Sanderson. This is one of his newest books out. During lockdown, he wrote 4 novels. We know 2 of them now because 2 of them have been released. The first one was Tress of the Emerald Sea. Now these, I believe, are all standalones. They're not really connected to a lot of things. However, there is one character in here that is in the Cosmere series, which is going to be really interesting to learn more about them. But yeah, I'm intrigued by this one. I did support the Kickstarter, so I have this beautiful edition of it. I'm not sure if I'm going to read from this edition or if I'm just going to read the ebook, because part of the supporting the Kickstarter was I got an ebook as well, so I may read this on my Kindle, but it's one that I'm intrigued by. I think it's meant to be a really cute cozy fantasy. I know it's also a retelling, but I can't remember what it's a retelling of. For this one, we're just following a girl in the middle of the ocean who lived upon a rock, and this was not an ocean like the one you have imagined, nor was the rock like the one you have imagined. The girl, however, might be as you imagined, assuming you imagined her as thoughtful, soft-spoken, and overly fond of collecting cups. So I imagine this is just going to be a really cute read. I'm intrigued to get to this one. I've been putting it off for ages. I need to actually just read it, but it will just be a case of whether I read it physically or whether I'm going to read the ebook. I think that would just depend on whether I have time to read this at home or if I decide to read it when I'm out and about. We'll see. Let's choose another prompt. Let's go at the back this time, actually. A thriller. Also, if you can hear that helicopter, I apologise. We're just adding soundtrack to this apparently. But yes, we have a thriller book. Definitely something I've been reading more. So at the end, well, I'd say at the end, in the middle of June at the minute, I'm on a horror kick. I'm actually loving reading horror books, which is weird. That's not actually me. So maybe a thriller would be a good time. Anyway, let's go. Roll number 3. Green. A to Z pick. Okay. We have apparently chosen Chaos for the 3rd roll, which is A to Z pick. So the way to do this is we're going to be screen recording again, getting A to Z letter generator up, and then finding a book title that starts with that. Although if it's a bit of an awkward one, we may open it up to author names. Let's screen record. Okay, so we have the A to Z generator. Let's go get that. 1 letter. It's starting on G, but let's change that. Random generator B. Okay. Not gonna lie, off the top of my head, I can't really think of a letter of a book beginning with B, so let's go scour the shelves. Okay, so let's move some books around, see what we've got hiding. No, those I've read. Not that one. Okay, they're not beginning with B. That's not gonna happen. We do have The Box in the Woods, so if we ignore that could work. Okay, let's pull that one out. Let's have a look if we can find anything else. No, none of those work. I mean, we could do the author Olivia Blake, could do that. Let's check for classics. I mean, I'm not feeling loads of classics, apart from Lador, obviously, but I don't have anything beginning with Brad. I could do Lady Orderly Secret for Elizabeth Braddon. Honestly, we're not doing that well, because I think even those ones over there, I don't have anything beginning with B. Okay, so for B, I've gone with 2 books. One is with the title and one is with the author, and you will have to choose and let me know which book you think I should read. Both of them are continuing series, which is really good. So the first one is The Box in the Woods by Maureen Johnson. This is a YA murder mystery. We're following Stevie. It's the 4th book in a series. The first series, she's wrapped up one mystery. In this one, this is taking place in a summer camp. She's been invited to come along and try and solve this mystery that goes on. I think it would be a good time to read in summer because of the summer camp setting. So that's The Box in the Woods. And then we have The Voyage of the Basilisk, a memoir by Lady Trent, which actually still has a B in the title, which is really good. And this is by Marie Brennan. So we have a B in the title and in the author's name. And this one is one of my absolute favourite book series. I love this. I've only read the first 2, but it's hands down a favourite series of mine. I adore it so much. And this one is the 3rd book in that series. We're following Lady Trent. We're looking back on her life. This is a memoir that she is writing about exploring the world, about dealing with the fact of being a woman during this time. Think like Jane Austen sensibilities, loving dragons and wanting to study them for science. And it's fantastic. I love this series. So 2 very good series. Very different as well. We have YA murder mystery and then we have the adult fantasy. So let me know which pick you think works best for B in the comments below. You have to vote. Whatever one gets the most votes is the one that I will read for the month, and honestly I am super excited for both of these, and I think they're both going to be really good picks for summer because one is a summer camp and one is in the ocean by the looks of it, and both of those work for this summertime. So let me know what you think, and with that done we have to choose our fourth pick. Let's go for this one. Oh, okay, mythology. Not gonna lie, I'm not actually in the mythology mood anymore. I kind of run myself dry with Greek mythology and I kind of need a bit of a break from it. So I'm hoping this one doesn't actually come up. I'm just not feeling mythology at the minute. I need a break, but we'll see. We'll see. Time for the fourth roll. Orange. That's a re-roll. Okay, but the first one is a pretty book. Choosing another prompt. A season pick. And the first re-roll. Blue. A standalone. Well, as usual, roll 4 we ended up having a re-roll, so we have 2 prompts to fill. We have pretty book and a standalone. Not the worst. I was actually quite pleased with this because pretty book and standalone both work perfectly for L'Adore by Mary Shelley, but I've decided to go with this for pretty book. It really is a gorgeous book. It is so beautiful. I'm loving the floral, loving the pink. The guns, I'm really intrigued as to how that plays into the storyline of this. As I mentioned, this is Mary Shelley's most Jane Austen-like novel. It was first published as The Beautiful Widow. It explores a web of relationships between 3 women bound together by the exacting Lord L'Adore. Cornelia, L'Adore's estranged wife, ruled by her mother and the norms of aristocratic society. Ethel, his daughter, raised in the wilderness of illness and utterly dependent on her father. And finally, the independent and highly educated Fanny Durham, the daughter of L'Adore's childhood friend. So I'm really intrigued to see this story. Apparently it's a feminist novel as well, and I'm just really intrigued, really wanting to read this one. And then for standalone, I've decided to go a bit more darker, and I've gone with The Historian, and this is by Elizabeth Kostova. And this is a book that I had on my radar because of the vampire vibes in this book. It says here, late one night exploring her father's library, a young woman finds an ancient book and a cache of yellowing letters addressed ominously to my dear and unfortunate successor. Her discovery plunges her into a world she's never dreamed of, a labyrinth where the secrets of her father's past and her mother's mysterious fate connect to an evil hidden in the depths of history. On the blurbs, it said how it's a spirited update on Bram Stoker's classic. So I'm really intrigued. I really want to read this one, and I'm feeling the darker vibes. Like, I don't know why, but gothic for me is working this summer. And it's something that I'm going to roll with. We're going to keep going with that mood. So yeah, that's for standalone. Now, is this going to be the last time we choose a prompt? I guess we're going to find out. Then let's go with this one. Under 500 pages. Keep your fingers crossed. Let's go to roll number 5. The 5th roll. Yeah, that's another re-roll. That's blue. Under 500 pages. Choosing another one, which is representation. And now we have the last roll for July. Orange. Season pick. So of course, for roll number 5, we had 2 prompts. The first prompt to fulfill, under 500 pages, and that's a really nice prompt. Like, I can't complain too much. And I knew exactly what book I was going for, which is Where the Drowned Girls Go by Shauna Maguire. I think I've mentioned a couple times, I've been really feeling horror books, specifically ocean horror books, to read in summer. Like, I am loving it, mainly because of Into the Drowning Deep by Mira Grant, which is actually the same pen name. Shauna Maguire and Mira Grant are the same person, just 2 different pen names. I love Into the Drowning Deep so much that I want to now read this book and actually get it read, get it off my TBR, and have those ocean vibes for summer. Like, I am loving it. This series is her Portal Fantasy series. It's the Wayward Children series, and I love it. It takes inspiration from Frankenstein, Alice in Wonderland, Jack and Jill, different things like that, and then puts it in a setting. It also has some commentary, social commentary, which I really like. Some people find it a bit heavy-handed because they are such short books. It can be a bit heavy-handed at times, but I think it works really well. So yeah, very excited, and I am so much in the mood for an ocean setting, so I think this is going to be perfect. Now, the last prompt was season pick, and what that means is my seasonal TBRs. I choose one off of there. I've recently just uploaded my seasonal TBR for summer, and a couple of the books are actually already in this pile. So Bee and Lolita, L'Adore, Box in the Woods if that one gets chosen. I have a few that I could choose from this, which I don't know whether I'm going to do as a mood read. I might give you another 2 books and see what one gets the most votes and go from there. I can't decide, do I want to go fantasy or do I want to go contemporary or classic? You know what, let's go contemporary and fantasy. Let's do that. Let me get you one of each of those and you can let me know which one I should prioritise to read for the month. Okay, so these are the two books. I actually forgot Boy Parts is on my TBR. Like, I forget about this all the freaking time. So that would have worked for a B title as well. But yes, we have A Boy Parts by Eliza Clark. This is the contemporary. It's kind of that we stand by women's rights as well as women's wrongs kind of movement that was going on in books. Like, it was getting promoted a lot, and this is a very chaotic book. We're following a photographer who likes to take explicit pictures of men and then it gets really dark and twisted. We're gonna see if I like it. Contemporary is very hit or miss for me. I either like it but would unhaul it because I'm never going to reread it again, or I have, I think, literally two where I've kept them because I'm like, actually it meant a lot to me, or I would potentially reread this. Not sure what this one's going to fall into, but that's one of the options. And the other option is going to be A Marvelous Light, and this is by Freya Mask, and this is a fantasy gay romance story. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I'm excited for both of these. Well, that's a lie. I'm really excited for A Marvelous Light and I'm interested with Boy Parts. Put in the comments below what one you think I should prioritise reading. Well, that's not bad for this month. I got in the book that I wanted to get in, the physical one, and then obviously I have the extra ebook thread needle, but otherwise I think this is a very successful TBR, so let's do a quick recap. We have Where the Drowned Girls Go by Shauna Maguire for a book under 500 pages. We have The Historian by Elizabeth Kostova, and this is for a standalone. I'm really looking forward to the dark gothic vibes in this. For Pretty Book, we have L'Adore by Mary Shelley, and this also works for Jane Austen July to at least get one prompt done from there. We have Tress of the Emerald Sea for highest rated on my TBR, which I probably will read the ebook version of this. And then for non-fiction, we have Being Lolita. But to add to this pile, we have the books for you to choose for the month between a YA murder mystery, The Box in the Woods, or an adult fantasy, which is The Voyage of the Basilisk by Marie Brennan. So let me know which one out of those two to read. And then of course we have the extra book for you to choose between, which is the contemporary Boy Parts or a fantasy romance, which is A Marvelous Light. So this is the stack we're working with. Don't forget to choose between the two lots of books that you can choose between this month, and that is everything. So that's not bad, honestly. 7 books to read plus an extra Kindle book, so 8 books in total for the month. I feel like that's nice. Technically it's a smaller amount than what I'm actually going to read for the month, but I really like doing that so that I can have a couple of mood reads and a couple of Kindle picks and just free myself up a bit. That's it for this TBR game, so thank you so much for watching. Please let me know what books I should read out of the options that I've given you, and let me know if you've read any of these, if any of these are on your TBR, and also what's something that you're planning to read in July. I think for this video, let's put a sun emoji. It's been hot in this room. It is so warm in the UK right now and I've had to film with the window closed. I'm boiling. It's summertime 100%. So let's put a sun in the comments below, and thank you so much for watching. If you have enjoyed this video, please do give it that thumbs up, subscribe and comment. Those 3 things really help this channel grow, so thank you. My social media links, anyone I've mentioned, will be linked below, and I will of course catch you in the very next video.